Hello everyone, it's me, Chaff Commander Coffee, and we're playing another traditional draft War for Spark. Let's pay those gems and get into another draft. I have so many of these saved up now, so many, in recording, so you'll get plenty for the channel. Okay, pack one, pick one, we have a Sorin, who's actually pretty nuts, I've found. Being able to ping out planeswalkers that have annoying passives when they're sitting on the board, or just recurring creatures in your graveyard. I don't think he's good to build a black-white deck around. I think he's good to splash for, but he is pretty damn good for splashing. Otherwise, we have a Wanderer Strike, which is pretty good removal and proliferates. We have Centaur Nurturer for fixing. We've got a Unlikely Aid, which I've actually had a lot of success with as a good combat trick. And Lazotep Plating, which much the same, pretty decent combat trick, and for protecting planeswalkers and stuff. But I think I'll pack one, pick one Sorin. Followed by another Wanderer Strike, the Wanderer herself, and what else we got in black? We have Herald of the Dreadhorde, it's pretty good, and Toll of the Invasion. Do I like the Wanderer? The Wanderer's pretty decent. And if we pick up some crazy like Dom card like Dreadhorde Invasion, it can be really, really powerful with the Wanderer. Otherwise, I just take the Wanderer's Strike, but I think picking up the Wanderer here is fine.
There are two kinds of mages.
And Cruel Celebrant. I haven't actually played the black-white deck, but maybe we give it a bash with Cruel Celebrant. Try play like an Aristocrats style deck. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's try white-black Aristocrats. Don't know how well they'll do, but we'll try it out. And Spark Harvest is pretty damn good to pick up as a piece of removal in our deck for black-white. And we have a Divine Arrow or a Toll the Invasion. I think I like Divine Arrow. Let's just stack the removal whilst we can. And here, what do I like? Not too excited by anything in this pack, but I will pick up an Unlikely Aid as a fairly decent combat trick. We've got a sack payoff with the Spark Reaper. And we've got Makeshift Battalion. I think I like Spark Reaper here as just a way of drawing cards and sacking our creatures off. Nothing exciting in this pack for our colours. I don't really want to pick up a Lazotep Behemoth, so I think I'll pick up Tamio's Epiphany as a potential. Maybe we play Esper, but... And again, if we end up playing Esper, I guess we'll take a Lazotep Plating. Here we've got a Godfarer's Statue for the Aristocrat style play, just to throw our opponent off curve. Can't really ramp into it, but could be useful anyway. Or a Dread Malkin for sacrifice and pushing damage. I think I like the Dread Malkin. I don't like having too many of them, but I think one's fine. We'll take a second Unlikely Aid. And a Topple Statue for the sideboard seems fine. Contentious Plan, again, in case we end up in Esper. And a Sarkhan's Catharsis. Okay, this pack we've got basically no black cards whatsoever. Got great Izzet cards, but we're not in Izzet in any stretch of the imagination. Got a Dovin's Veto, which kind of makes me want to play Esper even more, but we haven't got any fixing yet. Aside from that, we've got a Nissa, but we're not playing green. We could play green. We could pick up some fixing for green with Nissa. But we don't have any other cards to support it. I kind of want to try the black-white archetype out, so... I think we will pick up the Dovin's Veto. Do we just... Nah, Davriel Shadowfugue will get more options for. I could just pick up the 4-mana Flyer. Yeah, let's pick up the 4-mana Flyer. Let's try and commit to the Esper. Finale of Glory. Yeah, I think Finale of Glory is something we want. Gives us a bunch of tokens, which we can block the board up with Cruel Celebrant and stuff. We've got Teo's Light Shield. Nahiri's very nice as well, but it's better for more aggressive decks, since the first strike means you want to be attacking. But I think Finale of Glory is a great card to pick up here. Okay, what else have we got in our colours? Again, we're getting a bit stuffed on our colours, to be honest. We've got some great green cards here, but we're a bit far out of green. I guess we'll pick up a Makeshift Battalion as just a 3-drop we can play. Vraska's actually very playable in our deck, gives us some tokens, and it makes our board a bit awkward to attack into. Otherwise, we have an Aid the Fallen, which is very nice, and a Herald of the Dreadhorde, which is also very good. Vampire Opportunist can be a nice one-of if we're aristocrating our opponent out. I think Vraska's just a powerful enough pick that we pick Vraska up.
Step aside or be crushed.
Here we've got Kaya's Ghost form if we want to recur some of our Planeswalkers, or one of our creatures, but I'm not too excited by Kaya's Ghost form. Might be a nice one-of, but I think I'll pick up the Ugin's Conjurant as just a on-curve play. Here I could pick up the Huatli, but we don't have many high toughness creatures to play with Huatli. And there is an Aid the Fallen, which I think with 3 Planeswalkers already is quite nice. Do I want to pick up another Unlikely Aid? Probably not. I guess we'll pick up the Visionary, put it in sideboard in case we end up in Esper again. We've got a Banehound. Can be nice to sack things off, gives us some early game, but it's pretty weak. I'd rather take the Makeshift Battalion because at least it trades up. I guess we'll pick up a Davriel Shadowfugue as a one-of. Not too excited by these cards, so I guess an Emergent Zone might come in handy. Probably not, but it might do. Second Davriel's Shadowfugue or another Emergent Zone. I don't want to run too many colourless lands, so we'll pick up a Godpharaoh statue. And here we'll pick up another Sarkhan's Catharsis and our Boreal Grazer. Okay, so we've got a Chase. Aside from that, what do we have in our colours? We've got a Pouncing Lynx, we've got a Vraska's Finisher, an Iron Bully, which are all fine. If we splash blue, we've got some okay blue cards. We wouldn't want to play Jace to splash because he's just 3 blue is way too hard to cast. You have to have a deck kind of built around Jace to make it work. Do I prefer Lynx or do I prefer Finisher? I think I like the Lynx as just a first striker, but then again the Iron Bully is quite nice to power up one of our other creatures, and it's also something we can sacrifice pretty easily. But Lynx is nice to attack with the Battalion if we can get some good attacks in with that. Then Finisher is also nice as a piece of removal. We've got pretty good removal so far. We've got Spark Harvest, Divine Arrow, and the Wanderer, which are all pretty solid. And then the Unlikely Aids can be really strong with Lynx. So I think we'll take the Lynx here. Commence the endgame. Okay, and then we have, what else do we have? Wanderer's Strike, Teo's Light Shield. I think I like Wanderer's Strike here. I would love a Commence the endgame, but again, it's just out of our colours. I kind of want to play the Aristocrat deck, so we'll give it a bash. The Wanderer's Strike. Tidebearer Giant does cycle itself. Our high curve is not too bad, but I'd like to keep the board clear, so maybe we just take a Liliana's Triumph here as an on-curve kind of creature removal. Another Wanderer's Strike. I think I prefer Herald of the Dreadhorde a lot more here. Gives us some more creatures to curve into. Here, what do we like in our colours? Charmed Stray seems really unexciting, unless you just like force pick these up. So I guess a Charity Extractor just to stall the game out. Another Charity Extractor, Aid the Fallen, or Behemoth. I think we'll take another Charity Extractor. Dovin seems pretty good. Dovin's going to help stall the game out for us to get our Aristocrat style stuff rolling. And a Teo's Light Shield helps as well with that. I guess an Iron Bully since it's playable. Another Teo's Light Shield seems good. Here we'll just pick up, I guess, our third Sarkhan's Catharsis. And here I guess I'll take the uncommon. Should have probably picked up the Nissa's Triumph just because. Fourth Sarkhan's Catharsis and a Wall of Runes. Okay, I got 20 gems, sure. So I'm already starting to collect up all of the rares and uncommon, rares and mythics in the set. So let's see, what do we want to run? Well, I think we definitely want to run our Planeswalkers. Our set of Planeswalkers are pretty good. Dovin, Sorin, Vraska. Wanderer might be something we sideboard in against decks with a lot of high-power creatures, but I think she's pretty solid as just a general thing. Cruel Celebrant seems pretty good. Spark Reaper can give us some card draw. Aid the Fallen's going to help with our Planeswalkers, and then we'll just pick up the removal in the Malkin. Malkin's a nice sack outlet. Helps us do combat tricks. I think we'll pick up the removal that we have in our colours, and then we just want to fill with creatures. We've got Harold. Pouncing Lynx seems fine, especially if we run some Unlikely Aids. What's our curve like? Need some more 3-drops, so I guess we're running the Iron Bully as just a 3-drop. Ugin's Conjurant seems fine as just an any curve card. Teo's Light Shields are probably better in this deck. Then what do we want to run aside from that? I think maybe, do we want the Godfarer's statue? Might be a bit slow. Maybe we could sideboard it in against slower decks. I think Unlikely Aid is a nice combo with Pouncing Lynx and some of the other cards that we have in the deck. Like Harold, for example, turns it into 5 power, which normally removes most things. Can also be really nice with the Ugin's Conjurant, since they can't knock the counters off of it then. Silverwing seems fine as a flyer, helps us deal with Planeswalkers. It's not particularly exciting. I think maybe a Charity Extractor. Do we want to run a Davril Shadowfugue? On curve it's quite nice to get some card advantage, maybe slow our opponent down. But I do like having more creatures, since we're looking a little light on creatures right now. We've got 4 Planeswalkers, but they don't... I mean, Sorin does allow us to recur creatures. So I think we probably take another Charity Extractor just to stall the board out. Let's have Orzhov Aristocrats. We don't have maybe the best payoff cards for the Aristocrats deck, and it might actually be worth just main decking the Godfarer's statue as a way of pinging our opponent down. How much do I like doing that? It could be pretty good, but what do we take out for it? I don't... we could always sideboard the Wanderer in, but I think the Wanderer is probably better main deck than the Godfarer's statue, so let's just run with this. Finale of Glory is pretty nice as a way to finish the game. Or just give us some blockers. We do need double black for Vraska and double white for Finale, but I guess we don't want to play Finale until much later in the game, for the most part. And you can pump it as much as you like using black mana, so that's not so much of a problem. So let's see how we do with an Aristocrats deck. Again, I haven't played it. I don't think black-white has a great deal of support in the set, but we'll see what we can do. Opponent goes first. We don't have any white mana, but we're on curve to play Vraska and the Charity Extractor. So I think this is fine. If we draw white, we can go Malkin into Cruel Celebrant, which is pretty decent. Opponent bottoms, so they might be either a bit stuffed on land. Let's get the Malkin out. Malkin's going to be able to push some early damage. Crunch Wrangler. How likely is our opponent to play a creature on turn 3 with power 4? Very unlikely in blue-green, so I think we'll just pass, and I'll take this trade if they want to make it. Seems fine to me. Might be seeing a blue-green Proliferate deck. Flux Channeler. Yeah, looks like they're playing blue-green Proliferate. Might be difficult for us. I will take this trade. Seems fine to me. I'd rather they didn't proliferate on a Crunch Wrangler. That thing can get pretty huge pretty quick. We've got an Aid the Fallen, otherwise we're a bit... I could Aid the Fallen just to get the Malkin back and put it in play. It's a bit weak. Especially since we're on curve to play Vraska, we just need to draw 1 land. Even if it's just more swamps, we can play a Charity Extractor in the Vraska. And Charity Extractor is likely to slow them down quite a lot. Does our opponent have their 4th land? Looks like they might do. Yeah, okay, so they got their 4th land. They could, if they proliferate here with like a Contentious Plan, they're gonna get a 4/4 flyer, which is pretty scary. Bond of Flourishing, okay, so they're gonna get a 3/3 flyer, which is still pretty scary. And we don't have many options to deal with flyers aside from our flat removal that we have access to. But we need to find land here. We really badly need to find land. We could block the board up with a Charity Extractor, but playing Vraska seems a little weak against this giant flyer, so we need to find some removal for that. Probably a bit greedy taking a hand with no white mana, but we had the double black we needed for Vraska. we might get punished for it. They're just picking an island, so they must have a 5-drop in hand that they want to play next turn. Maybe a Challenger Troll or a Bloom Hulk. Or they maybe just want to proliferate on the Diver. Okay, this is pretty sad, so we're going to have to aid the Fallen for the Malkin, because otherwise we just got nothing. This is pretty damn sad. Hopefully we can find some more land. 3 land in our top 11 is pretty weak. I'd expect to find at least 1 or maybe 2 more. Okay, they're just going to proliferate. That seems fine. It's not very good. I think I will just block the Chandler just to slow them down. Okay, there's white mana. So we can play Sorin, but Sorin's just going to get blown up. So I think we play the Charity Extractor, just try and block the board up on the ground. We need to find some removal for the Skydiver, but we can at least Teo's Light Shield the Extractor. Okay, so Teo's Light Shield on the Extractor at least kind of helps block the Troll, but not really. We could play Vraska, which would slow them down from attacking with the Troll. We could play the Cruel Celebrant and hold up Liliana's Triumph. I think I like the Vraska to slow the Troll down. Maybe try and get some more land. So our opponent's very likely to just swing with the... Oh, okay. Okay, so this is going to be a huge Merfolk Skydiver. But will they just send it straight at our face, or are they going to... That's the question. Let's go straight at our face, okay. It's the Challenger Troll. The Challenger Troll's not swinging, okay. Divine Arrow doesn't even kill this anymore, so... How do we survive this turn? We have to... He's not even going to block, because he doesn't need to. I don't think there's any way we come out of this. So we'll just concede. Let's go to the next game. There's no point revealing any more of our cards. So they've got a very nasty flyer there. The only way we can deal with that is just one of our pieces of removal, hitting it before it gets too big. Do we want a second unlikely aid? Maybe a Davriel Shadowfugue? I don't think so. Our deck seems pretty well kitted against them. We just had a really slow start. Maybe we take out the Pouncing Lynx. That might be a bit weak. Maybe the Dread Malkin. Dread Malkin can sack our creatures up to like the light shields and things to get a little bigger. And once we start recurring some of our creatures with Sorin, can be pretty powerful. I think the deck's actually fine in this matchup. We just had a really slow start. We just couldn't get anything on the board, except a single Dread Malkin, which didn't really do anything. So we'll play first, and this looks pretty good to me. So we get a Dread Malkin into Spark Reaper, potentially into the Silverwing. And our opponent kind of dumped their hand out, so if they do that again and we can keep them at bay, then we're very likely to be able to just slowly beat them down with the Aristocrat plan. A Lily's Triumph, which we can hold up to deal with any 2-drops that they play. So if they drop like the Merfolk Skydiver here, we can just clean that up. I think I'm fine making them sacrifice the Wrangler. Just keep the pressure up. We might have to just sack the Dread Malkin here just to get some card draw. Okay, that seems pretty good to me. So we're going to just drop this Healy Silverwing, swing for 3. Opponent's got a Forest coming up, so nothing too exciting. They play that Forest, which means they don't have any other land in hand, and they concede. Okay, so we haven't actually had to reveal the Finale of Glory or the Sorin. Davriel Shadowfugue might actually be pretty good if their deck's quite greedy. But what do we take out for it? Maybe the Iron Bully? I think we take out the Iron Bully for the Davriels. That might be a good way of punishing them if their curve is very high. So if their curve's mostly 4 and 5 drops, we might be able to rip some good cards out their hand. It looks like they're playing the 4 Power Matters deck with Crunch Wranglers and then some Proliferate on top of it. This hand looks pretty unexciting, but we do get the extra draw. Is it a bit too slow though? I think it might be a bit too slow. Okay, this seems better. Do we want a Dovin? I think I'd rather just find some actual playables. We've got some removals, so if they go a little bit ham on a Crunch Wrangler or something early on, we'll be fine. We can always Spark Harvest the Light Shield if we need to. Opponent's got a Merfolk Skydiver, so they're going to put a counter on the Skydiver. Okay, let's pass the turn. We've got Charity Extractor, which is quite nice for blocking the ground up. Getting rid of the Skydiver seems like a priority since I haven't seen any other flyers on them. Stealth Mission. Oh, my friend. My friend. Divine Arrow. So, Divine Arrow went 2 for 1 there. It's really nice. We'll just drop the Light Shield now just to get it in play. Put a counter on it. Just help block their board up. Centaur Nurturer, okay. So we could try and cut them off their ramp by using Liliana's Triumph, or we could just play another Teo's Light Shield. I think we like the Teo's Light Shield here. If they reveal a large threat, then we can always Liliana's Triumph and then Spark Harvest perhaps. So opponent's going to drop a Rescue Sphinx, returning the Nurturer. That's actually good for us, so we can just Liliana's Triumph the Sphinx. And swing for 2. We do need some more land though. Getting stuffed on land again, you know, 3 lands, top 11. It's pretty sad. Opponent's going to play the Nurturer, so it looks like they don't actually have many playables in hand. Davriel Shadowfugue, I guess we'll just pass. Okay, so Crunch Wrangler followed by a 4 power. Okay, no 4 power. So we can just Davriel Shadowfugue them, force them to discard their hand. New Horizon and an island. So they actually don't have anything, so they're just top decking for answers here. Okay, let's drop the Herald. Pass. Bond of Flourishing, looking for a big boy. Okay, they find Kasmina's Transmutation. If they Kasmina's on the Herald, he's just good Spark Harvest bait then. So that's fine by me. And we can always aid the Fallen to bring him back, get some more value. But I think we play the Charity Extractor, just play the long game. That's what our deck's suited for. And as soon as we get Sorin out, behind a wall of, like, well, walls, and Charity Extractors and things, they're going to be a bit on the, well, Sorin's not going to ping them down very quickly, but he does allow us to recur our graveyard, so we can do some pretty stupid stuff with that. We can just basically just slowly burn them out with Celebrant, or build up our mana to a great, like a huge Finale of Glory. So we'll just drop the Charity Extractor and see what our opponent's got. Wanderer's Strike's pretty good with 2 counters on the Light Shields, so we've got an Unlikely Aid. I think it's fine to swing with the Charity Extractor, though we can't really trade for anything if we do. So even with Unlikely Aid, they just block it with the Nurturer. So we'll just pass. I'm quite happy to play this match out slowly. Opponent's going to be finding land, and it looks like they've run a decent amount of fixing, like New Horizon and stuff in their deck, so they're going to have some dead draws, unless New Horizon and Nurturer were their only ramp. But we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. Depends what our opponent tries to do here. now they have Devastation for 6. Okay. That's fine. Whatever they pull, we can just Wanderer's Strike it. Or we can Spark Harvest the Herald, keep the Wanderer's Strike up until maybe we get an Amass token out. Okay. Now they're going to attack. It's a pretty bad attack if they do, so they probably won't. They might only have one Challenger Troll in their deck. So, oh, this is pretty sweet. So we can Spark Harvest, sacrificing, target the Challenger Troll, sack the Herald, destroy that, and now we can Sorin. We can uptick Sorin, ping them for 1, and no attacks. So our opponent's going to have a pretty bad time now. We can start proliferating on the Sorin. Oh, that's it's not good for them. Do we bring back Herald? I don't see why not. So play the island and pass. Opponent concedes. I don't think they want to sit behind they don't want to play against someone sitting behind a bunch of walls and just ticking Sorin up and just recurring all of our Amass. We don't actually have that much Amass in the deck. I would have loved to get a second. Like, if I could swap a Charity Extractor for Herald, I'd be very happy, but yeah, that was a decent game 1, so we'll go on to game 2. Set 2. Like I said though, I've actually had great success with Sorin. I think he's a really strong Planeswalker in the draft. Just like the amount of creatures that have ETBs or like powerful death triggers, like the Amass and stuff, just makes Sorin just pretty amazing, to be honest. And even if you're just playing him to then bring like a 3 mana creature back from the bin, that's pretty good. Oh, my Winzip wants to tell me something. I tell it to go away. Do we keep a hand with 2 land? I think with oh, that's even worse. We'll mull that again. 3 swamps, sure. No light shield, no. Oh, this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. That's quite an unlucky mulligan there. Our opponent doesn't seem to be playing very quickly though, so at least we have that going for us. We've got the mana for Vraska and Spark Harvest now, so Death Touch creatures don't really bother us, since we can just make our own Death Touch creatures, and then we'll just trade them. What's our opponent got? 4 mana. Courage and Crisis, okay. So that's actually good for us, because Vraska's just going to block that creature off. Okay, so we play the Swamp, play the Vraska. Create a token. Now they could, for example, exile our token with like Wanderer's Strike, or maybe kill it with something else. Hopefully they don't want to commit that much. But we'll see. We shall see. What has our opponent got? We might have stalled them out here, which would be pretty good. Okay, they're not swinging, they're not playing anything. So we'll drop another token.
Nobody appreciates my handiwork.
And let's swing with the 1/1. Offer the trade. They don't take it, so the Death Touch creature gets a counter. Helps with the proliferate. Now we could Spark Harvest, but I don't think there's any need to. So if we draw 1 more land, we can just hardcast Spark Harvest, which is always preferable. Pollenbright Druid, okay. Putting a counter on themselves, followed by a Bloom Hulk, potentially. Is our opponent going to swing? Not going to swing. Okay. And we find a Plains. So we can swing with... Let's swing with the 2/2 to encourage the block. Okay, they're gonna block. I think we just, I think we unlikely aid here. Give it indestructible. Just try keep their board clear, hold up the Divine Arrow, because that can trade for the Cruel Stinger. Extra damage. Okay. And end the turn. Iron Bully is going to put a counter on the Cruel Stinger. Or on itself. Okay, on itself. Okay, we've got a Wanderer's Strike. How much do we like Wanderer's Strike? We could offer the trade up again. He's very likely to swing with the Iron Bully though, because it's got Menace. So we might be able to force some bad trades with them. So I think could swing with the 1-1, see if he wants to take that. Maybe it encourages him to make a swing on us. Or just swing with the 2-2. Divine Arrow is only really going to trade for the Bully if he proliferates. I could Wanderer's Strike now, but then we're having to double block the Bully, and that seems pretty bad. I could play the Cruel Celebrant and then Spark Harvest something. If I Wanderer's Strike, we could proliferate the Vraska, create another token. I think I like passing here. Just see what they try and do. Since the Death Touch deals with their board very nicely and proliferate handles Death Touch very badly. Bulwark Giant, okay. Gonna gain 5 life. Not swinging, okay. So now we can play the Cruel Celebrant and still hold up Divine Arrow. Okay, so let's pass turn. They might want to get a counter on the Bulwark Giant. Okay, so there comes the Bloom Hulk. Does our opponent swing? If they swing with both, we just block with the 1-1. Okay, now we just Divine Arrow this. Okay, and it bites the dust. Opponent passes. And we could just Spark Harvest and kill the Stinger. Or we could Wanderer's Strike. I'd rather get a counter on the Assassin first. So we could swing with one of the Assassins and see what they block. Opponent lets it go through. Okay. So we can Wanderer's Strike now to proliferate. I think I like that. So exile the Cruel Stinger, makes their proliferates a little worse, because they have no counters on board. And everything will get counters. And we're gonna down tick the Vraska. So they lose 1 life, we gain 1 life, and then I'm gonna aid the Fallen to bring the Vraska back. But we don't have any other creatures in the bin, so might save the Aid the Fallen, and then maybe we Spark Harvest, or maybe just chump the Celebrant into something. Okay, we've got another Plains. Do we aid the Fallen, the Vraska? I think we just swing with the 1-1 Death Touch, see how they respond. Okay, they're just going to let it go through. Seems fine. Do we Spark Harvest? Don't think it's worth it. Dread Malkin, that's pretty good. Get a lot of value out of the Dread Malkin, both in blocking and attacking. So swing with the 1-1 again. I think they might have like a Divine Arrow or Gideon's Triumph of their own that they're just reluctant to use right now. And now that we have the Dread Malkin on board, if they actually target us with removal, we can just sacrifice the creature in response. So we're in a pretty good spot here. Swing with a Bloom Hulk. Okay. We'll block with one of the Death Touches. Okay, so he's going to give it first strike. So in response, we just eat the assassin. Opponent loses 1 life, we gain 1 life. We get 3/3 with menace. Okay, resolve. Opponent gets no swinging. Pass the damage. There is no damage. Opponent's main phase. Okay, pass to our turn. Tears Light Shield. Do we just Spark Harvest? I think we swing with the Malkin and the 1/1, see what they block. Could put a counter on the Assassin here, which turns it into a 4/4, so it trades for both his creatures. I quite like that, actually. I could even say Spark Harvest the Light Shield. But I think I'm fine just sacking the Light Shield to the Malkin. So let's swing with everything but the Celebrant. See how our opponent blocks. Okay, so they're just going to block 1 for 1. Pass the damage. They got another battlefield promotion. Defiant Strike. Okay, draw a card. I'm fine taking this trade, that seems fine to me. So we'll just go through to damage. Okay. How do we feel about Spark Harvesting with Bloom Hulk? Is it necessary? Could stop them from using their Proliferate. Are they likely to get any bigger creatures? Maybe. I think we're fine Spark Harvesting this, and we'll just pay the extra cost. Make ourselves a little open to removal here. Arboreal Grazer's a little weak. And there's a Teo's Light Shield to put a counter on it. Okay, and we have an Ugin's Conjurant that we can just pay 8 for. Seems good to me. Just pass turn. We could force them to double block the Malkin and then eat the Light Shield, but if they had like a Gideon's up, then that would be a problem. But it looks like our opponent just scoops. So against a Proliferate deck, what would we like? They seem to get held down by the Death Touch really, really quickly. I think Unlikely Aid's going to be quite nice to give us those unexpected blocks. Pouncing Lynx is decent with Unexpected Aid if we're on the attack. I think Chariot Extractor is probably a little weak with their game plan. So I think we take a Davriel Shadow Fugue instead. Try and burn their hand out. They were holding onto cards for quite a lot of the time, so I think they might have removal, like Gideon's Triumph or a Divine Arrow, which we could rip out their hand, especially if they're playing quite slowly. Because they're trying to get synergy on their Proliferates, so I think Davriel Shadow Fugue should pay off. Arboreal Grazer. Okay, so they're going to dump their hand pretty quickly. We don't want to play the Ugin's Conjurant for 1. Okay, so opponent's already down to 4 cards. If we can get the Davriel Shadow Fugue... I mean, we're probably just going to have to play Shadow Fugue on 4. Our opponent doesn't look like... Oh, okay, opponent's holding up their cards. Let's play the Lynx. Lynx is very nice with Teo's Light Shield as well to just get an even bigger first striker, so... Okay, pass to our opponent. Opponent's going to... So our opponent's playing Abzan. We didn't see any black mana last game, so it might be that their black mana is a sideboard thing, or it might be that they're splashing for something, maybe like a Sorin, that we didn't see last game. So we want to see some mana next turn, but we'll Teo's Light Shield the Pouncing Lynx. And we will swing. So they've only got 1 white open, so they can't really stop this. They could just chump the Grazer into it to give the Rising Populace a trigger, but I think that's fine, we don't mind that. We've got Wanderer's Strike, so we don't mind taking a few hits from them since we're quite easily able to gain our life back. Okay, so Davril's Shadowfugue seems really good here, especially if they only play one creature in their second main. Okay. Well, Spark Reaper's fine too, so we'll play the Spark Reaper. Do I mind trading the links for the Rising Populace? Or would I prefer to push damage? I think I want to trade the links for the Populace. Maybe force them to topple the statue. Okay. Sure. That's fine by me. You want to tap that links out? I was planning on holding it back, but we'll take another hit from the Rising Populace. It's not the end of the world. Teo's Light Shield, putting another counter on the Populace. Are they going to hold it back as a blocker? They're going to try and push damage. Okay, they're going to try and push damage. We'll just no blocks. Okay, take 4. Okay, and there's our land, so we're going to Davril Shadowfugue them. So if they've got something like a Battlefield Promotion, they should cast it now, just to get the counter on something. They've probably got 2 playable cards here, so okay, they're going to Battlefield Promotion the Light Shield. They lose their last card, which was a Defiant Strike. So our opponent's kind of out of gas here. I don't mind taking another 4, that's fine. Okay, opponent's on block. We could just Ugin's Conjurant for 5. That seems fine. Also helps when we Wanderer's Strike, so play the Ugin's Conjurant for 5 and pass turn. Opponent plays a Bloomhulk, okay, so they're going to proliferate up. Do they swing with the Populace? No, they don't, okay. So now we have a good Wanderer's Strike on the Rising Populace. And we're going to proliferate up our creatures. So we'll swing with the Ugin's Conjurant. And they're going to double block. Okay, we'll get rid of the Bloomhulk. I'm less worried about the Light Shield, to be honest. The Bloomhulk is a bigger threat since it can punch through our board, whereas the Light Shield is kind of just stuck on blocking duty. And we've got a Divine Arrow. Okay. So I think we swing with the links, see if they block. Okay, they are going to block. So let's let damage go through first, and then we'll Divine Arrow in response to the damage resolving. Okay, and do we want to aid the Fallen? I don't think until we get a Planeswalker out we want to aid the Fallen. In our end step, I think in their end step, I'll probably just sack the Light Shield. Opponent's probably splashing for something with the Guild Globe and the Swamp. Maybe a Liliana? That would be a pretty reasonable splash in a Proliferate deck. They seem to be fairly out of cards though, so let's just sack the Light Shield just to get some recurring value. And there's a Sorin, so what we do is we drop the Sorin. And we down tick by 3. We bring back the Light Shield. And we put a counter on the Reaper. And swing with both. Opponent takes 7. And turn. And opponent concedes. Okay, so we're basically just stalling the game out and then putting some Planeswalker pressure on that they probably find it difficult to deal with. Targeted Planeswalker removal we might be quite weak against, at least when it comes to Sorin, but I think as far as it goes for the rest of it, it's all good. And with just 2 wins, we have enough gems saved up for another draft, so carry on going infinite. Hopefully by watching these drafts, it does help you guys play your own drafts. This hand has to get mulligans, it's just bad. And this hand is also pretty damn bad, but we do get the extra draw and the scry, so as long as we can find one land, this hand is playable. As long as we can find one land, this hand is playable. I'm just saying, game. I'm just saying. Okay, we get the Cruel Celebrant out on curve. Just need one more land. I mean, in theory, we can just play with this because we can always Spark Harvest the Celebrant. Iron Bully. All right, pass. Rising Populace isn't scary until they start proliferating it. So, in fact, I think Rising Populace, for the most part, in my experiences, has proven to be fairly underwhelming. Teo's Light Shield, so... Yep, top 10 cards to land. It's pretty sad. Jiang Yang Gu, okay. Now this is where it starts getting scary.
And this is Mo Wu.
Hey, Crunch Wrangler. What are they going to put the counter on? Looks like they're going to go all in on the Wrangler. Just take 4. Land? It's not land. I think we just have to Spark Harvest the Wrangler, to be honest. And then they get a counter on the Populace anyway. God damn, I can't believe... I shouldn't have kept a 1-lander. I shouldn't have, that was greedy as hell. But I thought to myself, yeah, come on, we get the Scry, we get the extra draw, we should be able to get to 3 land at the very least. Even if we were just stuck on 3 land, we'd have been able to play cards. Like, we've got 4 cards we can play in our hand. But I think we're going to be very, very far behind now. And they can just search through their deck with Vivian's Grizzly, if they want to. So if they don't have a play they want to make, they can just search with Vivian's Grizzly. Or they can just play Arlen. Just do that as well. And there's land. Okay, so we have a chance here. We've just got to play the light shields, and as long as our opponent hasn't got any proliferate, we're fine, sort of. If they can drop proliferate here, we're just going to be we're just going to be ruined. Courage and Crisis, yeah, we're just going to concede to that. Oh man, okay, so we basically just got screwed on land, but we're playing against another Proliferate deck, so I think we want the Unlikely Aid. Against an Arlen, I think Davriel Shadowfugue's fine. Take out the Charity Extractors. Seems good. Proliferate decks tend to be fairly aggressive with their attacks. Like, if it looks like they can attack, they tend not to pay attention to combat tricks for the most part. I don't know why. I mean, there's not a huge deal of great combat tricks in the set. Battlefield Promotion is pretty good, because it gives first strike and it puts a counter, so the combat trick ends up being like a buff for the creature as well, as opposed to just being a one-time thing, which is pretty valuable. But Unlikely Aid just lets you keep your creature. Straight up. Straight after the trade, you just get to keep your creature. So, I think that's also pretty good. Especially with cards like Harold that have 3 power, Unlikely Aid becomes really, really valuable. And yes, you might be going 1-for-1, but against Proliferate decks that are investing quite a lot of their cards on 1 creature, or maybe 2 creatures, Unlikely Aid kind of is like a 2-for-1. If that makes sense, because you're investing a lot of your resources in building a creature up just to have it killed by an indestructible creature. Okay, so our opponent's going to ramp. And we're going to just pass. New Horizons, okay. So Arboreal Grazer is going to probably become pretty thick. Okay, we've got a Spark Reaper, which is fine to play. Now, if our opponent only plays 1 card and we draw land, so if they go land card, just a Vraska, okay, that's pretty scary. Okay, I think we Davriel Shadowfugue here, try and force them off some cards. Rest card advantage from our opponent. And do we just let the... Do we let the Spark Reaper die to the Vraska token? What do they drop? War Screecher and a Wardscale Croc. Okay. No attacks. So, do we let the Spark Reaper die to the 1-1? I think given our hand, we can get Saheeli Silverwing down, so it's not too bad. We'll take this block. I'd rather they didn't proliferate on a Death Toucher and turn it into a creature that not only is a Death Toucher, but also can't be killed. And that would make me very sad. Rising Populace, okay. So we can play the Harold. Harold trades very nicely with the Death Toucher. If they proliferate here, they can make another Death Toucher, but they don't have a way of recurring Vraska, I don't think. They could exile Harold with Wanderer's Strike, which would be pretty bad. But if they get a creature to be a bit... Okay, so now the Wanderer's going to pay off pretty hard. They do get to make another Death Touch token, though. Okay, going to swing with everything. Just block the Death Toucher. We go into a mass 1, and they get bigger, which doesn't matter because Wanderer's going to clean them up. And you get a 6/6. I'll play the Wanderer. Exile 6/6. And we could Spark Harvest, but I think we can pay for that ourselves. Now, they can push 2 damage on the Wanderer, or we could block the Grazer and keep the Wanderer. But no, this destroys Planeswalkers when it hits them, so... Do I like this? No blocks. Okay, they just got land. So we can Dread Malkin, and we can eat the Planeswalker. But we'll play the Silverwing as well, because it blocks the Arboreal Grazer. They're pulling a forest, so we've got nothing to worry about. So they can't swing at us now. They'll just basically just get... Well, they'll get nothing out of it. Got a Cruel Celebrant. And I think it's worth swinging with the Dread Malkin. They're going to double block. Okay, they are going to double block. So we can get rid of their Death Toucher and just keep all of our creatures up. Okay, opponent's just pulling more land. Well, so are we, to be fair, but... could just kill the Arboreal Grazer. That's a bit weak, but we can't get past it otherwise. Actually, we can just keep swinging with the Dread Malkin, to be honest. Just swing with the Dread Malkin. Do we eat the token? We could eat the Wanderer as well, actually. Eat the Wanderer. And eat the Amass token. Swing for 5. We can just pay the full price for Spark Harvest, so... Okay. If we pay the full price for Spark Harvest, how are we doing? Pretty good. So no matter what our opponent top decks, they lose. If they play one blocker, the Dread Malkin kills them. If they play a removal for the Malkin, our creatures kill them. So it's pretty decent. I think we just go straight into game 3. So if we can pull this game out of the bag, that'd be nice because we get 3 wins. Aristocrats is actually doing pretty good. Pretty good. I'm kind of surprised because I wasn't expecting it to be a particularly powerful deck. 'Cause it didn't have, I think out of all the color combinations, it had the least support in the set. But it seems to be handling itself quite nicely. This hand is actually fine, because even if our opponent starts going off real hard with a Proliferate creature, we can just drop the Wanderer and kill it. So that's fine. And we've got a Davriel Shadow Fugue. So that's good too. There's a War Screecher. And we can drop the Cruel Celebrant on curve, just to have the creature out. Now they're probably going to start proliferating on the War Screecher. It's very likely because it's a flyer, and proliferate decks tend to prioritize things like proliferating on flyers. We'll just play the Ugin's Conjurant for 3 and no attacks. Let's see what our opponent's got. Dropping 2 lands, okay. Swing with the Conjurant. Have they got a combat trick? They don't.
Every pebble is a soldier in my army. Time for retribution.
Okay, Nahiri kills our Conjurant. I think we just pass. Ward Scale Croc. Okay, that's pretty scary. Can't really deal with that, and it's got First Strike as well now, so... And we're just going to draw more land. We could kill the Nahiri. I don't know how relevant that is, we'll just pass. That is a card we want to get rid of before they start generating a lot of card advantage with it. So we will eat up the Vivian's Grizzly and more land, so we're just going to pay the full price and kill Vivian's Grizzly. And no attacks. A unlikely aid would be really good here because we could basically block the Ward Scale Croc. And then Cruel Celebrant could just trade for it. There's a Dovin.
I'm impressed anyone would be so foolish awareness of your
Well, that's good for us.
is maddening.
So we can put the Light Shield down. We'll put a counter on the Light Shield or the Celebrant. I think we'll put the counter on the Celebrant. And pass. So if our opponent Dovins the Celebrant, then we can just block the Croc with it. Okay, they go Wanderers, strike the Celebrant. And they proliferate on the Planeswalkers. Do we take the block? Don't think there's much point.
The fault is not in our stars, but in ourselves.
Okay, so we've got Dread Malkin now. Pass. I'm probably going to lose this game, but you never know. Okay, let's jump up. Okay, and we will eat the Teo's Light Shield.
I'd be less frustrated if you had fewer flaws.
Okay, well this technically gives us a turn, so might as well do it. So we can exile their land, and we can dove in the bird.
There are many who
No
have
attacks.
turned weakness into a virtue.
So we've got to take the block here. Unfortunately, we don't have enough mana to sack a Planeswalker. And we'd have to sack both the Planeswalkers, the Crunch Wrangler, and the Snare Spinner. Okay, so we're pretty much out. Yeah, Silverwing's not going to do it. So we'll concede. That was close, but we just got a little bit too mana flooded. Which happens, so it's okay. Let's go into the next game. Can we get our third win? I think the deck can certainly get a third win. We've gone up against nothing but green-white proliferate, so actually there was a blue-green proliferate deck, but a lot of proliferate. Let's go for the play. This hand seems okay. As long as we draw action, we're fine, but Ugin's Conjurant's a nice payoff for having lots of land. Let's pass. There's There's no point showing our opponent we're a white, so... Okay, so opponent's on a red-green beatdown deck. Do we like Ugin's Conjurant as a 3-3? It gets burned out by Jaya's Greeting, but I think that's fine. Better to force our opponent to have it, and it trades with the Burning Prophet pretty nicely. Spellgorger weird. Okay, so unlike blue-green, creatures matter. Let's play the Chariot Extractor since it blocks up their board very nicely, and we will go for the attack. Okay, hit them for 3. Let's play New Horizons. Okay, so they get to scry and get +1/+0. Spellgorge is going to get a counter, and they get to put another counter on it. Why are they putting the counter? Maybe on the Burning Prophet. Yeah, okay. And they're swinging with both, so they've probably got a trick here. Do I care? They're going to use the trick at some point, so... Okay, they don't have a trick. That's good information. We could play another Chariot Extractor, help block their board up. We could play the Silverwing and start pushing damage. I think I like the Silverwing. They're going to pull the Turret Ogre. Okay, so that's going to make blocking a little bit, or the flyer a bit more awkward. They'll swing for 3. So they're quite incentivized to just play the Turret Ogre here if they can get another counter on the weird. Okay, there's a Bloom Hulk. Okay, so they're proliferating up. Gonna swing with both. Might as well. They get to push some damage. Okay, swinging with both. We'll just block 4/4. Still on 16. Okay, let's play the Cruel Celebrant. And a Herald. And swing for 2 in the air. Keep the Ugin's Conjurant back, so we can trade some stuff with it. So Herald and Ugin's Conjurant are going to be able to trade very nicely. Unless they play a Nissa, in which case that's going to be pretty nasty.
We will not fail.
Though they have left the sky open for us.
The land shall conquer you.
They're not swinging. Okay, it's very interesting. Let's play another Chariot Extractor. And swing at their face. Because with the Cruel Celebrant, we're actually quite likely to just be able to burn our opponent out by just sacking our creatures off. We only need to find a very small amount of damage still. And we can do that. So they're going to untap their land with Nissa and just start dumping their hand. If we can find a removal spell for the Spellgorger weird, we're in a very good spot.
True power.
Courage and Crisis, okay. So they're going to proliferate a hell of a lot here. Rightio. So if they swing with everything, alright, they're not swinging. That's very strange. Can't really get any good trades here, but Unlikely Aid might give us a good trade the following turn with Herald. Okay, they're going to search for all of their forests, so they're going to find nothing but gas for the most part. I mean, they could still pull mountains, but their lands do get indestructible. If they can proliferate on their lands now, we're going to have a bad time because there'll be 5/5s that are indestructible. We'll see what our opponent does. Pretty big board right now. That's what happens when Proliferate just pulls a good hand and they can just keep proliferating and we haven't got any answers to it. They're going to swing. They swing with the lands. So we just block them, gain some life. Pass the damage. So we get 2 life, and our opponent does nothing. Teo's Light Shield. We're going to play that on the Silverwing, so we can try and push some damage through. Swing at their face. Snare Spinner's going to block. Okay. We unlikely aid the Silverwing. The aid is very unlikely. Kill the Silverwing. So now we can start swinging at their face. If they put the Turret Ogre down, that's going to be their last line of defense in the air. A Turret Ogre's coming down, we get pinged for 2. Is our opponent going to swing? Invading Manticore, okay. Opponent's got a lot of stuff down. They might just want to swing all. Next turn. Okay, and we've got a Vraska, which is going to really hurt their board state. Death Touch is going to make it a big pain in the arse for them. Do we attack? Do we force our opponent to attack? I think we force our opponent to attack. Vivian's Grizzly is going to find them a lot of action. They've got a lot of land out now, so if they find more Proliferate with the Grizzly, that's going to be pretty bad for us. Okay, they find their own Vraska. Though our opponent is very likely to die to the Cruel Celebrant at this point, so Courage and Crisis, okay. Are they going to start swinging? If they haven't got removal for the Celebrant, they actually lose. Okay, so we're going to put the Light Shield under one and the Assassin under another. They both die. Opponent loses 2, we gain 2. Just Braskas again. Drop the land, no attacks. So we actually have lethal on board. Angrath, okay. They haven't got trample on their creatures, so oh, everything's got menace. Okay, yeah, that's basically game. We can double block a lot of their stuff, but probably not enough. So everything goes at face. Nope, they're just waiting. Dread Malkin. So if we sacrifice the Vraska now, we gain 1 life, they lose 1 life. Now all we need to do is survive them swinging at us. Depends what they've got on top of their deck, I guess. So we just let their smallest creatures go through.
The only prize I desire is your head.
Can they kill us? Possibly. Opponent finds another Spellgorger. And they find another an Evolution Sage. And here comes the Evolution Sage. They got a land. They've got a land. So they proliferate everything. Vraska's going to create another token. Does our opponent swing? They do not. Okay, I think we're going to sack the Herald. There's a Teo's Light Shield coming down. There's no point putting the counters on anything, I guess. Just randomly. but so I guess we put it on the lifelink. And we pass. Now, we don't really care about the 1/1 tokens, we'll just let them go through, but we have to be very careful about how we make our blocks here. Okay. I'm not sure if we're dead, or if we actually just win the game. Because we can let the Cruel Celebrant die, that's fine, as long as it doesn't die to first strike. How much first strike do they have in red-green? Not a huge deal, and they've got 2 creatures on top of their deck, so unless this card literally gives them first strike, or we might still be okay here. So let's start putting things under the bus, starting with the highest power stuff. Opponent's going to good game us. Okay, let's block the amass token. Let's block the 6/8. And then we've got 1 creature. I guess we'll put the Cruel Celebrant. It doesn't really matter. Actually, it does. Put the Dread Malkin under this. Block. Blockers have been declared. Does our opponent go to combat? So going through for 5, 9, 13. Yeah, I think we're dead. Sack this. Opponent loses 1 life, we gain 1 life. Think we're dead, but might as well try. Opponent's going to Vivian's Grizzly doesn't do anything for them here, it just finds a bunch of creatures. Actually, it gives us more information about their deck, to be honest. But it looks like they're just playing a proliferate beatdown. And we die before the triggers go on the stack, so yeah. Pretty close, pretty close. Game 2, I think we want the Unlikely Aid. And the Chariot Extractors seem pretty decent. We could try and burn them out with the Godfarer's statue, and that does stop them from casting so many spells. Do we want the Davriel Shadowfugue? I think we like one of the Davriel Shadowfugues. Pouncing Lynx might be a little weak. I think Teo's Light Shield's probably a bit weak in this matchup. And I think they've got a decent amount of reach, so I think the Saheeli Silverwing is probably also a bit weak. Finale of Glory would have given us so much power there. Like, if we had pulled Finale of Glory off the top rather than that last land, we could have actually had a fighting chance there, because we could have created a bunch of tokens that would have then been able to block up. But there you go. Sometimes you just get a little unlucky with your draws, which is fine. So we'll play the Ugin's Conjurant in response to them playing something, but we don't want to play the Ugin's Conjurant in advance of them playing something. We want to try hold it up, make it as big as possible, to slow down their proliferate terrain. Wanderer is going to be really good here for us. Okay, do we Lily's Triumph? Do we Ugin's Conjurant? Ugin's Conjurant's going to... Ugin's Conjurant doesn't die to the Rager unless they pump the Rager, so I think I'm fine trading the Conjurant for the Rager for the most part. On with Godfarrow, so they can't swing. Alright, we've got a Herald, so they're a pretty good pickup here. We'll play the Herald, and we will swing with the Conjurant. We'll go through for 3. Vraska, okay.
I've done this. I'm not now, though.
Here, so we can play the Iron Bully. on the Conjurant. Just give it some more power. And do we swing both at Vraska? Force a block? I think I like that. Okay. So Tybalt's Rage is going to kill the Dreadhorde off, or it's going to kill the Iron Bully. It's fine, so you can make that unblockable, or indestructible. They're going to kill off the Dreadhorde. Okay, they do. And they create another Death Toucher. 3 mana for Evolution Sage, followed by land. No land. Okay, they're going to proliferate on Nebraska. So we could release Triumph and then force them to block with all their creatures. Okay, that's going to be slightly more annoying. Okay. Now the Evo Sage gets exiled with the Wanderer.
Don't worry. I'll be quick.
And we can force them to sacrifice a creature. I think we swing both our creatures at Vraska first. We just maybe swing one. If we swing the Herald, then... If we swing both, we're leaving the Wanderer up to be killed by the Death Toucher. So I think we swing the Herald. They're just going to chump block it. Okay. That's fine by me. Do we Liliana's Triumph? Yeah, I think we Liliana's Triumph here. I'd like to keep the Wanderer around because they can proliferate their creatures pretty damn large, so... I don't mind losing the Ugin's Conjurant to a Death Toucher, since it's going to get depowered as it blocks things anyway. Here comes an Angrath. Okay, so now Wanderer's going to die, which really sucks, but there you go. Do they create another one? They do, so they lose the Vraska. Let's both attack Angrath. And they're going to double block. Do we want to keep the Conjurant? Do we want to keep the Herald? I think we're fine losing the Herald, so we'll just keep the Conjurant around again. This gives us 2 blockers for Angrath's Menace. But we're looking a little starved on resources here. Opponent's got a pretty good deck, to be fair. And here comes... Oh, wow. Manticore. Spark Reaper. Seems fine. Okay. So... Do we double block their token? If we double block this, we lose both creatures, so I think we just double block the Amass token. Do they have any combat tricks? I think I'm fine getting rid of the Amass token since it hurts their proliferate. Getting our own Vraska here off the top would be pretty sweet. Just more land. Guess we just pass. Can't find Finale of Glory to save our lives. And we're going to take exactly 12 damage unless we sack the Reaper. So we have to sack the Reaper in response. What saves us here? With Angrath's Menace, not much. No, especially if we just draw more land. Yeah, we're out. Well, that's a real shame. Only went 2 wins with the deck. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, maybe if we had a bit better creature base, we might have been okay there. But I don't think Black-White's got the greatest support in the set. So we'll just have to be content with 2 wins and just able to play another draft afterwards, which is fine by me. Fine by me. More packs, more good stuff. Single combat. I want to play around with that and Teferi the Time Raveler. I really do. I think it can do some crazy stuff. Finale Revelation. Nice. And what do we have here? Ral. Ral for the Infinite Ral combo deck. Seems good. So, pretty good packs out of that. And we got another Sorin for the collection, so there you go. I might even have all 4 copies of Sorin already. Not sure what I'm going to do with that, but we'll see. Anyway, as always guys, thanks for sticking around and watching the draft. It's been me, Chaff Commander Coffee. And I'll see you in the next draft, because there'll be another one coming up shortly after. Goodbye for now.